Hello, good afternoon, everybody. How we doing? My name is Ian McIntosh. I'm a Senior Business Development Manager for IOSH for Business. So today we're going to be talking about the IOSH Business Assurance tool and the Business Assurance certification. Now, if you notice, most other people present from up there. I've got a mic because I am going to jump down into the audience to ask people questions. So you've got about 5 seconds to run and get out before you may get chosen for a question. Okay, so one of the things that we always ask people, and there's lots of papers published on it, there's probably about 4 to 5 papers every day about safety culture, and everybody has their own opinion about what safety culture is. So is there anyone who wants to volunteer their idea of what safety culture is? Now, you're either scratching your head or you're volunteering. No, you were scratching your head. Okay. Is there anybody who wants to volunteer? Because if there's no one that's going to volunteer, I will pick somebody out. Look, no one's making eye contact now. Everyone's panicking. Oh, I have one here. So I'm going to do an action. I was about to jump off there and you stopped my jump off. Right. Kelly Nicol, outgoing IOSH president.
For me, safety culture is quite simply the way we do things around here.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything? Anyone? Oh, we've got one over here. I'm coming round. I'm running. You don't see me run that often. Thank you very much for your contribution, which is?
Depends on whether you see it positively or negatively. Poor safety culture is negative. Then it's result because of some accident happen. It's been labeled as poor safety culture. Positive safety cultures, yeah, that's the good one. Everybody's celebrating when the organization is having a positive safety culture. So it depends on how you look at it. Yeah, I mean, we want to, of course, celebrate. But I'm sad to say, most of the time, we're crying.
Mr. Key, thank you very much. So, let's see if this works. So, safety culture. You can't actually touch it. It's what you feel. It's there, isn't it? Yeah, you can't touch it. You can't measure it that easily. It's about how your business and your organization, it's an intangible asset. Okay? And measuring it is really, really hard because everybody has their own opinion of what safety culture is. If you go to your board, what is safety culture? They will give you different answers from your safety team. If you go to the workers on the floor, they'll give you a different thing. Safety culture is great, safety culture is rubbish, etc. But it's always something different. So how do we actually go around and to sort of try and make sense of it, try and put some measurement behind it? So IOSH, what we've done is brought out a thing called the Business Assurance tool. So it's 150 questions that a safety professional and the team fill in, and it's based around 3 key subjects, which is 1, your governance and your leadership, setting that tone of what the safety culture in your business should be. So your board, you can have a conversation with your board to say, what do we want the business to look like? What does that safety culture look like? And you set the tone. You then look at the systems and the processes you're going to have in place to actually enable that tone. And then you look at the last piece, which is your actual people and the culture within your business as well. Because if you've got a poor overall safety culture, it's not going to work as well. So within the Business Assurance tool, it focuses on these 3 things. There's 150 questions. Some of them are as simple as, do you have a health and safety policy? Yes, we do. Tick. Upload the evidence of it. There will be questions for your board. Does each board member recognize and understand their responsibility towards the safety culture in the business? Because if they don't, you've got an issue there. So it takes it through, and as you can see the dashboard sort of here at the top, it comes across, it starts coloring. And what it's based on is 4 elements around the IOSH model of safety. which says that a business is either sort of compliant with OSH or it goes beyond compliance. And if it's compliant with OSH, it could be an embryonic, a new startup that is sort of doing the bare minimum. They know they've got to do something, but it's the bare minimum. They may not even have a full-time OSH, safety professional in there. Then you look at people that are active. They're doing a bit more than they need to, but they're still only active. And then when people are starting to go beyond the compliance, then they're proactive. And then when people are right at the end of it, they are fully integrated. So safety culture is throughout their business. Safety culture and safety within a business will never, ever be perfect. Anyone that tells you they've got a perfect safety culture and a perfect health and safety system, they're just in dreamland. It will never happen. Some of the people that have actually used the business assurance: Manchester United, Kia, Liverpool, City Council, Serco. In Southeast Asia, Nike have used it amongst their supply chain. So they've gone to all of their supply chain and said, as part of transformational leadership, we need to look at the culture within the organization. So Nike have used it, Scottish Water, etc. So there's multiple organizations. So someone like Manchester United are looking at from a culture of their safety staff. They're looking at the people throughout the stadium. If you think about how many people are coming into that stadium as a one-off thing, there's 70, 80,000 people turn up for a game, and you've got to make sure that those people leave that game safely as well. So as we spoke about the model of safety, so this is where we've based our business assurance tool on. And it looks at these different pieces, which I should have put my glasses on. It talks about your understanding of OSH risk. It talks about your prevailing attitude to OSH. It looks at the locus of OSH responsibility, who has the responsibility for certain elements. It's about the role of the OSH profession. So if you look at this one, when you're an embryonic, a new startup, you're literally making sure you're not breaking the rules. That is it. Yeah, that's what your focus is. Then the one that we always like to say in the UK, the health and safety police. Yeah. So when you're active, you're policing what your people are doing. Hopefully not too much, but that's what you're doing. And then when you're going beyond that, when you become proactive, you're assuring people. Yeah, you're passing on to say, well, look, you can make some decisions yourself. You're looking after your fellow workers as well. And then towards the end, you have the ear of the board. So the health and safety professional is talking to the board and saying, I am a strategic enabler to help this business move forward. So that's what they're doing. So with this model, we have then built the business assurance tool. And what happens is, as you go through and you publish these, you answer the 150 questions, and nobody will answer yes to everything, because again, they're talking absolute rubbish. If everything is perfect, it never will be. No one's ever answered everything is perfect. And what happens is, you'll see the scoring will come through. The dashboard will start doing a scoring. And it will give you, when you've done the 150 questions, it will give you a score. So it will say, if you're between 50% of your answers are working within the model of safety, you'll be embryonic. Active is up to 75%. Proactive is 79 to 90. And then integrated is up to 100%. And what we do is we look at it and say, well, where's your achievement level? Where's your sort of, where are you from a 1 to a 12? Okay. And it will give you places where you can improve. It will give you goals to go for. It will give you the missing sort of things where it will say, it could be middle management need to do some fire safety training. It could be that there is a complete lack of management system understanding by people. So it just depends where the gaps are. So as we talked about earlier, the business assurance is about the governance, the leadership, systems, processes, people, and the culture. And it's an ever revolving circle, because as you set the tone and you enable it, and then you have the people and the culture, their feedback goes back into the board to say, this is where we are. We need to maybe change something as the business evolves. It's constantly evolving. It's a journey. I'll let you take a picture. Done? Yeah, got it. And then what it says is it leads from the top. So the question sets around governance and leadership, they're talking about the direction of the board. Okay, so the board will set the direction where the business should go and what their expectations are. It talks about the ethical tone. The ethical tone within the building. It also talks about the board, the composition, the capability not working. And it also talks about the governance, the structures, etc. So each of these you have to answer with your board. You're talking to your board saying, do you understand what these questions are about? Does the board understand their key functions within setting the tone and that governance and leadership? And then when you move on from there, you go on to the systems and the processes, and you look at how you define that intent and that scope that's been set by the board. You look at how is stuff safe by design? You know, we look at some amazing projects that have been built, and you go, well, is that safe? How do you actually make that work within our organization? You look at the value chain, you look at balancing the risk as well and the return, you know, because you've got to, you know, you've got to make something as safe as possible. There's always going to be a risk, something's in there. And then you look at the evaluation of it as well. How do we measure what we've actually done? And then the last bit is about the people and the culture, the outcomes and the impact of it. So what you have is the people and the culture, the outcomes of good governance. Is there competent OSH support there for those people? Okay. Is there, you know, people being able to optimize their potential? Because you will have people turn up that will naturally sort of gravitate to saying, well, I want to make sure that safety is a priority. So they will sit there and they will make sure their fellow workers are safe. It's not just about themselves. Also, the really important one, voice from the floor. Are the workers actually being heard? The board have set the tone, but what the board will say is, we want to hear what the actual workers are saying. And it's whether the workers are allowed to have their voice. You know, sometimes people sit there and they go, they don't have the voice to do it. They feel scared that they can't. And part of this is saying, let those people have that voice. It looks at the responsible business conduct, about how good OSH can help with that as well. It also measures the climate for OSH as well. And it talks about the authentic leadership. Do the people within the business understand what their board want? Do they believe in it? Do they buy into it? Because if they don't, it will just fall down and you have to go back round through that circle again. So, business assurance certification. So what happens with IOSH? What we do is we offer a piece called business assurance. So we basically let you have access to the business assurance tool, those 150 questions. We get you to take your questions, you put it in, you upload your information, your evidence of the answers to your questions. And then what you do is you look at the outcome of it and you say, okay, where are the gaps? Now you can either do it yourselves as a business, or IOSH can help you with a consultancy if you don't feel you're ready to do it. And an IOSH consultant will come in, they will work with your board, interview your board to talk to them about how, you know, the honest answers are the really important answers here. You know, you've got to be honest and say, no, we haven't got something. No, we're not doing something. So once you have that outcome, you will get a report that says you're strong here, you need to improve here, you're weak here, etc. And again, then you go away and you work with your training provider, you work internally to deliver the training, to add systems in, etc. And we say to you, take around 12 months to do that. Make those changes. Don't try and rush the changes. 12 to 18 months, make the changes within your organization, go back in and update your business assurance tool to give you the new answers. And then what you do is you send it into IOSH and say, can you validate it? Can you double check what we think by bringing in, again, a consultant in who will look at it. They will re-interview your board again to say, these are now where you've moved to. You know, do you believe this? Is this exactly what you're saying? So we work again through it, and at the end of it, we will give you a score. And it will be 1 to 12, which is bronze, silver, gold, platinum, okay? And you get certified. So this isn't, a lot of people say to us, oh, is this an ISO 45001? Does it replace ISO 40001? It's not. I see someone shaking their head. Thank you very much for shaking your head. It isn't. ISO 45001 is your management system audit. This isn't that. This is looking at your whole business, the culture within that business, okay? And it is something that you can then, once you are certified by IOSH, you have the certificate, you have the logo, you can put it on your website. This reassures your investors, your customers, that you've actually gone through a process which can take up to 2 years to do it, to actually say from the top to the bottom, this is what we're doing as an organization to improve that safety culture. Okay, and someone like Changshin here, a Nike supply chain factory, they've gone through that certification. They started off at about a 4 when they first put their actual pieces in, and then they moved right up to about 8, I think it was, or a 9, just by making some changes to it. So what we do, as I say, you have the final report, you get your rating. There is still a continuous improvement plan. It doesn't stop there. So we say, right, you've got a 9 or an 8 or a 7. How do you go up the next level? And you still have access to the business assurance tool. So you go through it, you agree the plan. And again, IOSH can help support you and say, look, there are training providers that you can connect with. There are internal courses you may need to do. It may be a system or process. But what we do is you agree that improvement plan, and we say to you, revisit it, and you can revalidate it in about 3 years' time. Because once you've had it validated, it's valid for 3 years, but you can then work again to improve and improve. So that is it from me. What you can do is, if you come to the IOSH stand, we're 1307, I'm going to say. It's a good guess. We're over there near the UK Pavilion. What you can do is you come over, speak to me. I can take your details, because I can actually set you up with a trial, so you can actually have a play with the business assurance tool to actually give it a go, see if it's something that would work for your organization. Some people just use the business assurance tool as a measurement tool. So they just access the business assurance tool rather than then going through the whole certification piece. Don't know if anybody's got any questions about it at all. Oh, over there. It's not good for my knees, this. Oh, we've got a roving mic. I'm just going to come sit here, though.
Just to confirm, you say you use 160 surveys questions, OSH perception surveys to measure safety culture.
No, it's 150 questions. 150 questions. It's not a perception survey. It's 150 questions that we've used OSH professionals, whether it's from different industries, to help build that question set, to say, right, what do you look for when you're building safety culture? Okay.
So ultimately, it's still measuring safety culture.
We are basically measuring it to say, where does it line up against the IOSH model of safety? Okay, you know, it's one of those things. It's a hard thing to measure. As you know, your answer was different from Kelly's answer, and it's everyone's perception of it. So that's why what we do is, when we actually we get you to fill in the 150 questions, it will come up with an answer based on an algorithm to say that's where it is against the IOSH model of safety. And then what will actually happen is that where our consultant comes in, they will actually talk to your board, etc., and it clarifies the answers that you've put in.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to understand more, because safety culture is just part of organization culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I said just now, I talk about the positive and the negative. Okay, an accident happened is a poor safety culture. Nothing happened is a good safety culture. So if we just measure safety culture, which is one small thing of the whole organization culture, and you use 150 questions just to measure this, whereas organization culture is a bigger aspect.
Yeah, but it's not organizational culture you're measuring.
I mean, it's just to be more detailed. Safety culture is a poor safety culture is a bad outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's an outcome. Okay, so that is why I say we use 150 constructs to measure one safety outcome.
Within the 150 questions, there are sub questions. So you're probably answering nearly 600. Is it about 600 answers? So you'll have question one will have
Likert skill 1 to 5.
it's question one will have 5 almost sub questions with it below it. So it will talk about, do you have a health and safety policy? Then it will talk about different aspects of it. Where's it lodged? Do people know? So there's about 600 to just under 700 questions that are within it.
Our routine to conduct this survey in order to get a good picture, and you just told me it's a quantitative survey to these 600s.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we ensure that this number is accurate?
What is in what? How many questions? I'm not.
How do you ascertain that? For example, let's say an organization take part in the survey,
Mm-hmm.
and the health score is the organization health index score, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
is 85%.
Yep.
Very good score.
Mm-hmm.
How do we ascertain that this 85% is the reality?
And that's why it's put into IOSH as the institution of occupational safety and health to actually validate that score. So we have associates that have
Benchmarks.
there are benchmarks, there are associates that have the knowledge, and they go out and speak to the board, etc., and the team that have actually filled.
So
this
you use
document in.
thematic discussion to get a qualitative answer
It's
on top of the quantitative answer from the surveys. Qualitative,
Yeah.
quantitative.
No, it's evidence based, as Kelly's just said. It is evidence based as well. So you have, so for instance, I had a client in the Middle East, filled it in, they were perfect. They literally every box they ticked yes. So it came out and they went, we're perfect, we're a level 12, and we were like, we know you're not. The associate speaks to the board, speaks to the safety professionals and goes, have you got this? Where's the evidence for this? Show me how you do this, etc. And they were like, okay. So they went back through and remarked it, okay, and sort of after this interview, and they sort of were honest with themselves and actually moved down to a 4. So 85% they'd be at like an 8, a 9, somewhere around there. They moved down to a level 4.
Okay. So after the quantitative score, you get it, let's say the good score, then a thematic discussion with the board, evidence based to get to make sure that all those evidence is there.
Yeah.
To qualify for this score.
Yeah.
Okay. Quantitative. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Did you want to add anything?
No, I actually had a question for you, which I think was partly answered. As you have more people join the making use of the business assurance tool, for each sector, is there a plan to have kind of benchmarking? So you can benchmark your business against other businesses within the same sector?
Yeah. So basically what we've done is, as we build up research data behind it, so we have the data, so manufacturing, regional, etc., so that someone will say to us, well, what's the average score in Singapore? We can say, well, it's this, and within this market it is this. We won't tell you who's got those scores, but we will say there's the averages, etc. We've also just published a white paper around the business assurance tool, where we had it out on an extended 3-month trial with a lot of companies to get their feedback on it, etc. So there's some interesting information. That white paper is available on the IOSH website, so people can download it, and it gives you some really, really interesting statistics about where people see different question sets within it and where their perception of, and the strange thing is that most people's perceptions, where you see the question sets, we thought we were going to get quite a wide range of sort of answers. Most people, when you're talking about, how do you feel about, this style of questioning here, and this, is it right? Is it targeting the right audience, etc. Most people were talking at the same level, saying yes, it is right. because what you've got to think is that this tool has been built by chartered members, chartered fellows, and sort of from around the world. So it's not just 4 people in IOSH in Leicester going, this is what the tool should be. It's literally people from around the world, and we're like, well, what are your thoughts on this? And what, so you've always got to start somewhere, and that's why we always say it's very difficult with safety culture. It's an intangible asset. It's how do you do it? You've got to try and measure it somehow. So we try and give it the widest thing. There is so many models that you can measure safety culture with. IOSH have sort of taken this. It's based off our competency framework that all of our members work towards. So that's why we do it that way. And yes, it's based on evidence. If you tell me your board are fully aware of the implications of not having a health and safety policy or something like that, prove it. Show me where the evidence, because if you don't put anything in that evidence, we just go, well, sorry, you can't say yes because you can't prove it. If you can prove it, and again, we'll still look at, that's why we have a consultant in for about a week to look through the answers to say, you've said yes, you've put a document in there, but the document doesn't really explain it. So tell me a bit more about it. So that's what we do. So we really do a deep dive into it to try and get the best outcome for it. Anybody else got a question at all? But thank you very much for the question. Happy to have a discussion over at the stand. If you want to come and sign up, have a free trial. Oh, I have one all the way at the back. Oh.
Thanks, Ian. Do you revalidate the scores after a leadership change?
So do we reevaluate?
If there's a leadership change in the organization, does the score gets revalidated? That
is up to the score is valid for 3 years anyway. Okay, but if a board change happens in that 3-year period, it's up to if they want to do it, because if the board might have a total change, as you say, of where their direction is. Now at that point, their certificate is still valid. They are still valid at a level 8, even though they may have changed their direction. And after 3 years, if they went through a validation process, it may have gone up, it may have gone down. We can't enforce them to do it. We would recommend, if a board change went in, we would say, have you looked at the business assurance tool? Have you run, if there's suddenly a new strategy about something comes in, whoever's got the access to the business assurance tool can upload that new data. And if it throws up a different score, they can talk to us and say, can we revalidate it? So they've got that option to do it because they have access to the business assurance tool through the 3-year period. So that they can constantly, because again, it's a constant process. So as you change something, you improve something, you update that question, you update that score. So it's not, we can't mandate it, but if someone wants to do it, they can. Okay? Anybody else? Or I think probably way over time. We are. I've got a red clock. Oh, I've got one question here.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I just had a question about, you said that it's different from ISO 45001, right? But what would you say are the major similarities or the major differences from of the IOSH model of safety and also the ISO 45001?
So with 45001, you are looking at something at an operational sort of level. Yeah, and it's a different, there's different parts of it. So if you've got 5 factories, each part of them you have to assess, where with this you can do it at an organizational level, top level, all the way down through the business. Or you can even then go, do you know what? We'll actually do it by site and accumulate the score. So you can actually go in and say, we'll do it for the organization, but we want each location or each department to actually go in and put their own scores in, and you will see where the business is letting down the overall business on the on the business assurance piece. But it's not an audit of your management system. It's a thing saying, we understand you should have a management system in place. We're not auditing that. What we're saying is, we know that's in place. We know you're using it. Okay. but what else are you doing within your organization? So it is a totally different piece. What? Does that sort of answer it for you? Yeah. Oh, we've got one more over here. That's right. I can. Here you go. Oh.
Yeah. Thank you for your talk. Quite informative. Right. I have a question. Is my company is BSafe level 3, right? So it's like, okay, I have that certificate on my company website and saying, okay, we'll invite people to collaborate with us in that we have the system in place for safety. Well, let's say about the culture. How do the external stakeholder recognize this, that wanting you to do business with my company? How does it be recognized? Because
So basically, what you're doing is if you think about it, you're basically saying, yes, you're a level 3, for instance, say it's a bronze, award. But what you're doing is people will recognize the fact that you've actually put your company up to IOSH to say, where are we as an organization? We're prepared to be benchmarked, and so as an external company, they will go, this company cares about their culture, they care about their safety, they're willing to put themselves forward to the Institution of Occupational Safety and Health, to say, tell us where we are, certificate us as a business. So what it's giving that assurance to people to say, okay, they've got IOSH business assurance. That competitor hasn't got it at all. Who would I rather work with? Someone that's got a level 3, bronze marking in IOSH business assurance? Or would I rather work with someone that's got nothing, because I'm gambling that they may be better than you, but they just haven't measured themselves. But if someone cares enough to go, I want to go get that certification to do it, then it just gives people that reassurance that, you're actually caring about what you're doing as a business, what you're looking after for your people, etc. That makes sense.
thank you.
No problem. Oh.
Thank you for our presentation.
Oh.
Thank you for our presentation. I have a question for for 45,001. Okay, we have to go through the audit. Okay, there are some circumstances whereby non-conformance will result in revoke of your certification. So for IOSH, in what circumstances that your certification may be revoked?
We won't, again, because we can't enforce it. This is something that you choose to do. Again, with ISO 45001, you can, as an organization, you will choose to do it, and they can pull the certificate out. We will measure it again after 3 years. So it's a 3-year process, okay? And at that end of that 3 years, you may have gone back down because, as the gentleman earlier said, there may be a board change, there may be something has happened, there may have been a catastrophic accident that you've had somewhere that's totally changed because people's perception of the business has changed. So you'll have that after 3 years, you'll have that revalidation, and it may have gone down. We won't ever, we wouldn't take the certificate off you. You've put your details in, you've submitted it, it's valid for 3 years. No problem. I think that's it. Thank you very much.